Whoa, Nelly, is it that time of day again? It's Hearts of Iron 4 mod time. So this time around we're playing around with a new mod that came out a couple days back. I have to look up the name really quickly because I'm so unprepared for these. The Eternal War. This is a post-apocalyptic mod in which you play as two different factions. You got the United Earth Federation and then the Terran Hegemony. Now, United Earth Federation, you probably think of them as like a GDI clone. Terran Hegemony, I don't know. They're not. I don't know if they're Nod. I mean, they kind of look like Nod. They have the red shit all over them, but you know, besides that, they don't really have the same iconography as Nod. But essentially, they're like an evil-ish society of scientists that go about cloning people instead of making them have sex. A bunch of blah 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 shit. I'm, by the way, using OBS in order to record this because I had a lot of issues recording Hearts of Iron 4 for some reason with my usual recording software, which is Shadowplay, and I had to use OBS, and OBS is kind of a little bit janky. In fact, I've noticed it right now with this pre-recording, how it's really janky, how the screen sometimes shakes. Is a little bit annoying. It's really interesting. This mod actually takes the technology from, what was it, the Modern War mod, I believe, and a couple of other mods, and then like paste them in. So there's actually content to play around with. Because I'm gonna admit this, a large part of this was just me waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And I know that's usually what I do in a lot of these mods, but this one it's one other adversary. You can justify war claim anytime you want. It's really up to you when you want to attack. My only problem, however, with this is that the AI for the United Earth Federation and the Terran Hegemony is kind of bullshit. Like, you're gonna see this really quick with my war with the Terran Hegemony, but basically it goes somewhat nowhere. But without spoiling too much for you guys, now essentially the United Earth Federation has the entirety of most of the planet. I would say, yeah, I'd say like most of the planet, with the exception of Central Asia, East Europe, Russia, China, Cuba, really the undesirables. Who really cares? But I'm kidding. But besides that, that's really about it. There's no other factions, and the United Federation and the Terran Hegemony, they're not really that different. They both take the anarchy penalty. They both have devastated war penalty. They then also have a bunch of options when it comes to how they deal with the planet. So for example, they can either rebuild society to get extra production going, or they can just go into eternal war mode so that they can get like an extra bit of recruitment done. Besides that though, not really much else in terms of like the cabinet decisions that I've really noticed that were huge, that were big, that were different from everybody else. Every other mod, for example. Military staff and research production are largely unchanged, so what you're left with is being able to choose if your people can have sex freely, or if they're cloned, or if you want to rebuild the planet, or if you want to just like continue with the warfare and all that stuff. Now, most of this, like I said beforehand, is me building up, so I've skipped out a large chunk of the build up because nobody wants to deal with the build up of something. They just want to deal with the climax, the afterwards, like ecstasy of happiness that comes out from what was it, playing a game. Now you could also construct a couple different like unique buildings, so for example hospitals, steel mills, research centers, the works really. I think it does copy a lot from the Modern War mod, so if you've noticed content from that mod, then you'll notice content from this mod and all that other shit. Okay, now I think we finally get into war. Is that it? Are we finally in the war stage? Yes, we are. Holy shit. Because, man, I do not want to talk through this fucking build-up section. Build-up so boring, but good lord, does my fucking camera move around. Holy shit. Listen, for anybody looking at this right now, I am really sorry for what you're seeing right now, but shit, man. It is janky as all hell. Holy fuck. Usually it doesn't look this bad. This is what happens when I record on OBS for some reason. The game just dies. So yeah, we're finally declaring war. And as you've noticed right there at the bottom with my two generals, they're both green. And I have 160 guys with one of them and 41 guys with the other one. And I'm pushing up through Central Asia with one of them. And I'm pushing up through Eastern Europe with the other one. And the problem is that, well, it's green. We're winning all of our battles. And that's the biggest problem. The AI is stupid. It's really fucking bad. Like, I mean, it doesn't know how to fight me. And unfortunately, there's no like unique natural focuses that force the AI to think creatively. And because of that, well, I'm just kind of like stuck in a situation where, oh hey, I have this enemy over here that I can beat the shit out of, and he won't fight back. And that's really what happens in this battle. He does not fight back at all, which is very, very, very sad. I am very sad by this. Very sad by this entire like experience, because now I have to literally deal with what amounts to a giant meat shield for the entire game. And while that's fun and all, it's honestly not. There was like almost no challenge with this whatsoever. So it's gonna come down to me just like painting the area. Once I conquer Moscow, then things are gonna change where I go to Japan, because that's where the next capital goes. And then afterwards, it becomes a game of how am I going to capture the capital really, really fast, so I don't have to wait 10 hours for the game to finish. And then it just becomes a race. It's like a gigantic fucking race. And I love races. Like Rat Race is one of my favorite movies. Chicken Run. Chicken Run is not a race. It's a race for survival, but not a race in the traditional sense of point A to point B. My favorite race also is the Tortoise and the Hare. Who can really beat that? It's iconic. It's fucking iconic. Like, the tortoise wins in the end. He always does, because he has determination. What is that? What does the rabbit have? Nothing. He has nothing. Come on. He's fast, yes, but he doesn't have the drive. He doesn't want it as much as the turtle. And when you want something more than someone else, ooh, you bust your balls over it. But yeah, the battle is won over Moscow, and then I have to get my fine ass over to Japan. And there's no army units to stop our way, so this is really, really like nice. It's a nice little breezy trip through. Fuck, man, like damn. I am just trying to blitz my way through, and it's a slow process. It's a really slow process. What else is there to really discuss about with this mod? I suppose the interesting thing would be like this technology tree that we have going on. Like I gotta admit, the technology here is amazing because it's very detailed, right? Pretty nuanced as well. Like you can go into many different paths, and then like the amount of tech available to you is quite massive. In addition to this, you can go all the way to future tier where you can get like mech suits and stuff. So that's cool. I like to take it a step further, maybe, because that would be like a little bit better for me, like especially if we can get like stuff like supersonic like bullets or teleporting infantry units, you know, that sort of shit. Unfortunately, we don't get any of those. We just get like those realistic-ish exoskeleton suits, so that's not really fun. Not really fun at all. But anyway, basically this is going to be a giant mop-up of a game that I've done beforehand, and so because of that, I'm going to leave you guys with this video. I do hate to leave you guys with these videos, but there is almost nothing for me to talk about here, besides like me rambling on for a good like 10 more minutes. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that would change anytime soon. I could short it down a little bit actually, but anyway, so right now I'm just currently, while we're at this part of the video, I can at least talk about my naval invasion of Japan. So all it's gonna count to is me just getting a bunch of battleships together and patrolling around like a couple of like oceans, and that's really about it. Really easy shit. Now I might as well sit here and talk to you guys even more about this video, because fuck, it really is just like nothing. Like fuck me. There needs to be some sort of way to make this AI like at least somewhat menacing, at least somewhat. I'm looking at the mod really quickly, but yeah, I haven't seen anything where the creator is going to think about, what was it, increasing the AI difficulty a little bit. And I've seen like a couple of other users like note the same issue, that the AI is quite meme-rooney stupid, but you know, there is that, of course. Ooh, let's see here. Breakaway Nations. Oh, maybe there should be, like, more nations. Yeah, that'd be kind of nice. Instead of, like, 2 monolithic nations, you can have, like, a million different nations. Put, like, a couple of nations in Russia. Maybe some nations in Central Asia. China. You could keep the United Earth Federation, but maybe have it, like, GDI so that it's, like, a few territories. Instead of, like, most of the planet. Like, it should be, like, the smallest, but the best equipped faction. Right? It should have the... It should be a technological powerhouse. Okay, so another cut I have to do really quick. Okay. So yeah, now we finally get into the last cut. And like I said beforehand, it's very much just a battle of attrition. Just straight out, just marching your fucking fat-ass armies across the planet to try and get to the other fat-ass army across the street. And then hopefully, the other fat-ass army somewhat stops. I have to admit, the national unity of these guys is quite massive because they're not going down. They didn't go down at all. I take like 5 capitals of theirs in this goddamn fucking game, and they still don't go down. Like, I don't understand it. How do you still not go down? But I think it's probably because of the cloning thing. It's definitely because of the cloning thing. Yeah, it's definitely because of the cloning thing. So, yeah, so I'm going to leave you here with all this me Marooney gameplay so that you guys can see the process of me conquering. I already spoiled it for you guys. I basically do win at the end of the game. But it is a long-ish process. Let me know if you guys want to see the entirety of these sessions instead of like snippets of them. I do try to cut as much as possible, but fuck me, do I sometimes get into sticky situations like this one where I don't really necessarily want to cut that much, like, or I can't cut that much. Here, I'll just, yeah, that should be way better. Alright, so I'll see you guys next time, and, bye-bye.